Hello, friends. Welcome to Weekends with Amit. Last week, we had a very interesting subject, our place in the universe. And as you can see, we are discussing universe, which is huge, and our place must be very tiny. But there is another phrase that we often recite, Aham Brahmashmi, I am the Brahma. So effectively, we are not so small at all. We are quite big. If we look at it, we are infinite. We are infinite beings. On this subject, we have received a number of uh, interest shown by our audiences over the last few days. And as we could not conclude it, the whole subject, and Valentina was left hanging between how to describe certain practices or preparations, we decided that we will go or give this subject another go. So it is the episode 2 of Our Place in the Universe. Now, as usual, we have two distinguished guests with us. One is Dr. Amit Goswami, another is Dr. Valentina Onisar. So Dr. Goswami, welcome to the show. Dr. Onisar, thank you for joining us. Because of paucity of time, we will quickly go to the subject. So my first question, as usual, would be to Dr. Goswami, that last week we spoke about, or you spoke about, the extraterrestrials and how through non-locality we can connect to them. Maybe if you can give us a preamble of how those preparations can be done so that our audiences are prepared what to do.
Yeah, we're happy to. So this is the crux of the question. Biologists have been making some assumptions about ourselves. Or you all probably know that they assumed even some decades ago that the brain cannot change, and then now everybody believes that yes, the brain can change, neurons can produce new connections, even new neurons can be programmed to perform brain functions. So there is still another prejudice that hangs on in biology. This is the prejudice of physiology, organ physiology. And the prejudice is the organ physiology is fixed once and for all. Stomach will always just do digestion. Heart will always pump blood, and nothing can be done about it. The immune system will always defend us, and we'll get inflammation in various places. If the immune system malfunctions or cancer, there is no answer to these things. And in quantum science, we are discovering things that goes against it. For example, for some time, I have talked about the idea that yes, if the immune system is temporarily suspended, then only we experience love. More recently, the idea came to me and Valentina that it's more than that. When the immune system suspends itself, then a heart gets a new function. Our heart gets a new function. You heard me right. The function of the heart as a blood pump gets an additional function of coherence, quantum coherence, which enables it to directly represent supramental archetype of love, which we feel as a feeling of love. Initially, we get a glimpse of it at romantic love, but we don't follow up. The manifestation stage of creativity, we are too young to follow up. But then when we are middle-aged or later, we have no problem. Know better, we can follow up. We can follow the entire creative process and actually change the function of the organ. In this way, we can change the root chakra. Instead of processing fear, we process courage. In the sex chakra, instead of processing just sexuality, we process love, and so on it goes. At the navel chakra, this may mean that new software will get rid of things like diabetes of type 2 forever because the pancreas will get new function and malfunction will never happen, like insulin production going bizarre. So for the heart, of course, it's major because that's where heart wakes up, becomes coherent, and I already said that's love. And we can get into manifestation of it, and that's unconditional love. In addition to, if you want romance, you can have that too. And then for the brain, it's major. The intuition, that door opens up. And what happens most interestingly, and this too, mind you, is still needs to be further studied because we know very little about the crown chakra. We know that the organ is parietal lobe. We know that if the parietal lobe is suspended, then we get out of the body experiences, which means that our body identity is relaxed. But how to get that is still kind of a mystery because very few people seem to be able to do that. It seems to us, though, that doing it precisely is what happens when we practice non attachment, as in Buddhism. And people are already talking about it. There are ways of doing it. If the crown chakra can be awakened, then momentary suspension of the parietal lobe will make it easy. And the way to awaken it is practice of non-attachment to the body. So what is this telling us? If the crown chakra is suspended, seems like we have two things that happen. One, the identity with the body is gone, so we can have out of the body experiences. So we become available for other beings to embody themselves in us. What I mean is the same kind of phenomenon we see in channeling. But channeling is a fairly rare phenomenon. Only some people can channel, others cannot. The key is here. So who can we channel? Well, this is where what Valentino was talking about last time comes in. The extraterrestrials, not the physical body, but we can channel their mental, vital, their character. In this way, we become privileged to communicate with extraterrestrials in a very new way and wake up to a new reality, to how other people live in other planets. This is an amazing possibility. The other thing that happens is health related, which is that the pineal gland may wake up and give us control over our sleep. Sleep is the major problem. Rest is the major problem for all three of our chakras: brow chakra, heart chakra, and navel chakra. navel chakra. We give navel chakra adequate rest when we fast. We give heart chakra adequate rest when we love. But we know that the rest is important for us, but we don't have any control over sleep. In fact, sleep deprivation is one of the major problems of aging. So here is the solution. We learn to awaken the crown chakra so that two things will happen. First of all, we'll have this capacity of channeling, extraordinary capacity of channeling that we didn't have before. And second, we'll get control over our sleep cycles because the pineal gland will get new functions as well. So you see how important this is? All right. So now you take over, Valentina.
Well, again, quickly shifting to Valentina. Dr. Onisar, there is one very simple thing that I would like to ask from you. If we can have Dr. Onisar on the screen, please. What Dr. Goswami just explained is that we can communicate using our other vital bodies also by working on our chakras. And I know that you are a specialist in this field. So can you take the audience and us to the next level by explaining more of this preparatory work, and if you have any other additional tools to offer our audience?
Sure. So to go, of course, in detail, in depth, and we have this extensive program which you see about the master and PhD, which we offer in these areas in health, especially. And of course, you're welcome to participate. But of course, it refers to awakening our beautiful potential, out of which, as you know, we are using very, very little. And due to this base level human condition, of course, usually we are so predictable also and so easy to manipulate even. So until we get to manifest our potential and discover what really is freedom, and then the power of choice, and we are able to manifest a pure intent, there's a lot of work there, you know, and it takes what is called transformation. And transformation is never an easy process. Of course, taking in consideration also the reincarnation and all that. It's a lot of discussion here. But basically, transformation, we don't learn so easily and transform through happiness, unfortunately. We learn a lot through sufferance, you know, banging our head in the wall, or we can do it by assuming to live a purposeful, conscious life and discovering and walking towards manifesting our dharma, discovering what truly matters and embodying that, you know. So go while we walk our path, the path is really opening. And if you think of extraterrestrials, you know, they are the high evolved civilizations. They are looking for people who want to overcome this tendency of reciprocal destruction that you see on Earth, and to create even a peaceful civilization, which is being able to cohabit harmoniously the space. And the only chance of peace on Earth is that we understand that there is no real difference between all beings, and that what truly matters is that inside of us lives that same unique light of the endless consciousness. Whether we are open towards it or not, this exists in every moment. And it has to be actualized. Again, I'm going back to that oneness. We have to actualize it, whether we do it in a couple relationship or in a group, or of course as humanity. It's different than just saying, oh, we are one, but we are not one unless we actualize it. And again, the gate towards that is the access to no locality as well, no locality, and how through the heart. And then I was speaking last time about this concept of CSETI, the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence. The concept is one universe, one people. And again, if we speak about extraterrestrials, kind of you can think that they choose to be friendly as a natural manifestation of their evolution. And the high level of consciousness that they reach is incompatible with the division or the conflict. Yeah. And so again, without realizing this unicity and actualizing this oneness, the real fraternity, the differences that are perceived as a cause of fear, of violence, untrust, all this competition that you see nowadays. So all this differentiation and separation has to be replaced into unity, with unity. Or if not, there will never be peace. And there's, of course, you see this whole literature and movies regarding extraterrestrials, so-called extraterrestrials, but actually like Star Wars, you saw. But in fact, there are not many informations about spiritual extraterrestrials, right? About this level, there is no information much. Not because they don't exist, but because, very interesting, it's like even if it would be not programmed, but that we should not make contact. So it's created all this image through the movies that kind of, they're represented in so many ways, which have no truth in that. But remember that there is this law of resonance that is universal. And we talk in our programs about that. And again, I'm raising the point that humanity is at the cross point, and you see this more and more now. So it's whether we continue to destroy the earth and cohabitants through ignorance, through war, through conflict, or we reach a state of spiritual illumination and social maturity through which we can acknowledge our inherent unity. And because we are in this transition period, you see all this chaos, all these rebellions, and searching for an equilibrium, but it's still very immature. It's as if we are mostly teenagers that happen to find some grenades, and without any judgment, you just put them in the space, for example. And kind of all these humans' efforts, even trying to install weapons in the space, all this competition, you can see it up to all, especially to the highest, so-called highest levels of our so-called leaders. So it's kind of, we can be a danger not just for ourselves, but also for other worlds, and unfortunately you have to see that technology, like it's more developed than the level of our spiritual evolution, and this makes us a little bit of a dangerous civilization, if you think. So the contact, with extraterrestrials, you can even initiate this kind of contact, and the intent has to be always to create this peaceful, lasting cosmic civilization, because the time came to end a chapter of the history and to start a new one. And I mentioned that to really have this kind of contact, it requires a quantum leap. I talked last time a little bit about that. And we need to have the courage. So in order to transform, in order to engage in transformation and to do these leaps, which are manifestations of the supramental level of our being, that most of us, we don't explore it yet, even if we have it. So it takes courage to embrace the good, even this new world, and a world whose characteristics have to be the universal peace, the state of awakening, and creating this advanced civilization that starts with us, and even technologies on Earth for the years to come. And so instead, what you see many times is all this space war and global destruction, ecological disaster, and cultural chaos, and so all this confusion that again I mentioned last time. So all this needs to be stopped with courage, okay, and with love, of course. So we need to be aware in order to act together. But you see what you see today with these masks that we have, but even without this, we still wear the masks. And I can say that you can see that you're walking among robots even, instead of awakened people, which can really irradiate themselves. But actually, really only through collective action of those who want a happy future for humanity, we can truly overcome the destruction and can even offer the protection for a world that is ready to take its place between the big civilizations of the cosmos. Why not? And the question is, what are we waiting for? Should ask yourself. So these highly evolved beings are attracted by a high state of consciousness, by a meditative state. And the accent, I said, it's on the expansion of the consciousness and how are we able to connect to ourselves, how authentic we are also. So becoming authentic, of course, again, it takes a lot. It takes to deal with your wounds, with all these masks. But again, the more you are truly able to know yourself and have the courage to manifest that, then the more you contribute to this fraternity that is required. And again, they are interested to communicate with people that are awakened spiritually, aware that in this universe we are all God's children. Even if we look different, we are united through the same divine consciousness that unites everything. And the purpose of the contact again is very important, is the conscious effort to put us with the terrestrials in purpose of spiritual evolution, and also to help our planet to evolve spiritually. You can start asking yourself, why are you here now in these times? They are very special times and not easy ones. Right. So this was a little bit of introduction. Now, Krishanu, if you think I have time to just go through a few details, the practical details.
Yeah, absolutely. Please carry on.
Yeah. Right. So what we did, I'm telling you only the method, because to really do it, it takes some hours. And I'll just give you the way very shortly. Again, as I said, it's easier if you do it in a group. To access this group consciousness, the non-locality is something which they like, really, because it's a sign that we are able to do it. And then you need to enter an elevated state of consciousness through various methods. So there are many methods you can do in a group. So you need to enter a special state of consciousness and deep mental peace. There are ways. There are many ways to do that. use any meditation techniques that you know. Meditation that really creates this kind of state of awakening. And then it's beautiful to do when to do it outside in nature. I would recommend. And I didn't speak about the ways of manifestation because there are some ways. It's not about but again, like I said, you're getting all this distorted image usually. But there are ways. So besides, first of all, I would say that a very specific state of consciousness, which I don't know how you call it. You can really call it the really rising of the frequency of vibration that you can perceive. It's truly changing. So that space around you, you can perceive how it's becoming very different, in quality, like really a sacred space. You can, if you can feel how it's truly, truly different, as if you're entering something else, very clearly something else. So for me, this is the first mark. And then together with that, it appears a state of such a special state of happiness and love, that it's like you're having a smile, which I never had it in other occasions. And whenever they manifest, it's always a very surprising manifestation, totally surprising. You never expect that. And again, remember, think what I said. So it's not a linear manifestation. So usually we are so predictable, I told you. Yeah? But whenever a quantum leap is happening, all of that, it's a surprise, it's that aha moment. So it's exactly the same when you get a manifestation, when they manifest, it's totally surprising. So again, it's not a linear operation with the energy of time and space, not even how you imagine a rocket flight. Yeah. And again, ways of manifestation can be like even with a naked eye, even, I would say. But again, now I will enter a lot of discussions. But you can still see like flashes or lights in the sky. But it's a lot of discussion here. Or sudden flashes that quickly disappears. Okay, but that is not falling stars. So it's like a falling star, but without that tail and falling like in different directions. Very intense luminosities can appear. Very kind of a warmth waves, like you're feeling the air trembling in the night, like it's an etheric manifestation. And again, I don't want to talk too much about that, but so I'm not going into more details about what you can really hear or see, to not create confusion, because it's a lot of talking about that. But I can only tell you that they interact with electronic equipment, with computers, with truly mobile phones. I really had experiences with that. And radar detectors or magnetic detectors, it can create an atypical sound or reacting different to whatever commands, or even beeping, which can appear in the night. It's truly, truly special. So how you do it? Usually it's in the night, again, outside, when it's a new moon. Yeah. And again, it's a group. You can do it like from 8 p.m. to in the night, in a park where it's totally silent, when it's no other lights nearby. And the sensitivity of the eyes, of the sight in the dark, you will adjust it in order to be able to perceive the subtle manifestations also in this way, if you want. So how we do it again? So you choose your location, of course, your place, the people that you want to work with. You manifest the intent, very important. So you do a practice, at least a meditation. Then you manifest this intent to move to a higher level of interaction with our friends from the universe in order to be ourselves transformed and to bring forth this transformation, to be able to also help the planet Earth in this process of transition towards a new era of peace. And so throughout the procedure, you need to remain aware also that there are all these people around you, so kind of be in that space of non-locality. And again, in the meditation, you guide the people to become aware of this oneness. So whatever ways, again, there are many ways to do that, to lead them to become aware that the universe is a projection of the divine consciousness, and that all the beings that exist in the universe are united through the divine consciousness that created them, or we are all children of the same God. And then you can play specific music which we used with these groups, and here I will just make a break for 2 or 3 minutes when you can truly just relax, even set up this intent. Of course, like close your phones, turn off the phones, and just allow yourself open a few minutes if you have. And we will simply play this music, be receptive. It's a specific music which was created, synthesized from the sound from a specific crop circle formation which was found in England, and we can use it to put us in resonance with this higher aspect. And while we do that, we just set the intent, as I mentioned, allowing us to relax more and more. Manifesting the intent with all our purity. So we just play the sound, and you can even have image of such a crop circle, for example. There are all ways of creating a resonance with them. Right. And now we'll do what I gave you last time to practice that exercise of expansion. You simply, as if you're going with the plane, and you see how you're above the earth and how you see the earth from the plane, but just watch the movie and again try to remain in a state of meditation. So we expand our consciousness beyond the limits of our planet, which is seen now from the space, then even more beyond our solar system. You will see in this little movie so that you can visualize better. And then this is seen now from outside and beyond the limits of our galaxy, that again you see from the outside. Simply watch this movie for 1 or 2 minutes to understand what I'm saying. So we do the zoom in and zoom out 2 or 3 times. And in the space, try to accept or even perceive that many highly evolved extraterrestrials beings exist in the space, and they are all connected, and we manifest the intent to contact them, even like introducing ourselves, like just saying this is my name, and simply manifest love, all the love and all the friendship that you're able to transmit. And then we invite them to come where we are in order to learn more about them and to contribute to the creation of a spiritual civilization on Earth. Right? And then we ask them to manifest for us in any way that is appropriate and safe for them and for us. And then again, we show them mentally where we are. So we do this zoom in. Again, the Milky Way galaxy, our solar system, planet Earth, the third planet from the sun, the continent where we live on, our country, and the position on the continent, our city's geographical position in the country, the area of the city where we are, the street, the house, and you're here at the desk, yeah, dressed in this. So with as many visual details as possible. And then if we do it in a group, as a means of identifying ourselves, we can visualize a column of white, bright light that goes up from the middle of our group. Or we can even use laser beams or certain sounds, again, such as what we just showed you. So we have to do the zoom out and zoom in procedure several times. And after that, you remain quiet in a state of receptivity, trying to perceive the presence and manifestation of the highly evolved extraterrestrial beings which heard you. So it's again, like as I said, it's best to allocate at least 2-3 hours for the procedure. And the perfect time are nights without moon, when it's easier to look at the stars, but not only. Even this thing of just laying down, and looking at the sky will create already a state of expansion. For me, looking at the sky was and is still one of my favorite things. So the procedure again can be done anywhere, even in a room you can do that, yeah. But ideally, however, is to be outdoors. And so it's not necessarily to look, to take pictures, or I don't know what, pay attention to it, because all the time the manifestations will be surprising, as I said. And pay attention again to that specific state of consciousness, which is the signature. And if you go further and you truly are ready to perceive easier, even etherical manifestations, it's kind of, you need to defocus your vision. But again, don't go into that until you understand the principle. And you need to alternate periods when you look at the sky with periods of meditation, and even various other spiritual techniques like prayers for Earth, or blessings, or anything else that you feel inspired to do. And just allow yourself to take this time, and when you are finished, on departure, just manifest a state of gratitude always towards them. And as I said, you can even do it in a room where you are, and then you can invite them, for example, before going to bed, and just go to sleep, and then see what's happening in your night. Of course, it's very important to make a journal, as it is with everything that I recommend, whether related to health or related to awakening. of consciousness. Right.
Well, that was a great presentation, and I'm sure that many of our audiences would like to try this tonight itself. To top it off, as the summing up of this program, may I invite Dr. Goswami to share a few words of wisdom.
Well, it is very important to again remind the audience that what Valentina was talking about is all about experience. How you can experience something that you have not experienced before, and your context, the intention, makes it clear that the experience could very well be an extraterrestrial experience. We are not saying please don't connect this to new data that US government is promising, that some people in the army, they saw some extraterrestrial sites of something physical moving and they have pictures. No, we are not talking about that necessarily, because we still don't understand anything physical, how that can travel from such distances away to where we are. And unless we understand it theoretically, we don't propose that we entertain it as a public thing, because that kind of thing very well takes our attention away. Please listen to what Valentin is actually saying. This requires a lot of preparation, a lot of different mindset, and a lot of practice. Just expansion of consciousness is not an easy thing to do. With that reminder, let me also end this program because it is an invitation to a tremendous amount of transformation with what in India we call a mantra for peace, Shanti mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukhabhat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let everyone be happy. Let everyone be without disease. Let everybody see, experience the expansion of consciousness. And let nobody have to deal with any sorrow. Peace, peace, peace. Om.